Welcome back to this second in the series of offbeat responses to the Bible by Frank Hunting. And our message today is called Where Does God Come Into the Picture? And there's a reading from Exodus 2:11. Moses went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens. Moses knew he was the man to set God's people free, but he bungled it by setting about doing it in his way. Moses was the right man to deliver God's people. There was no one else equal to the task. But at first he was useless. Why? Because he had not been trained to be disciplined to God. He had not learned communion with God. It was a lesson so many of God's men had to learn. Samuel, David, Elijah, Elisha, John, Jesus all learnt this lesson, and they learnt it well. It was the only way they could become useful to God. Moses rushed in with his style to set his people free, and everything collapsed around him. He had not been trained in communion with God, to come into a face-to-face relationship with God and learn to take his orders from God himself. Hence he spent 40 years in a desert, minding sheep and learning. To learn to commune with the living Lord Jesus Christ is not to our taste in the Western world, or any part of the world really. This requires very strong discipline. It demands time, lots of time, learning to establish a face-to-face relationship with Jesus. And sadly, most of us are too busy in what we label as the Lord's work to give the time needed for this communing with Jesus. This communion demands time and a few other things to establish a face-to-face relationship with Jesus. If you would like, you could read John 14:21-23. Face-to-face communing with the living Jesus is quite foreign to us in our world of goal setting and humanly devised programs and projects in order to achieve our goals. Thus, many of us have a form of religion but know nothing of its power. There is plenty of a rattle about us, but little reality. Thanks for watching again. There'll be another one of these messages, devotions coming up soon.